if you're a college player and you're a great college player, like Caitlin was, the delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning.
There was a time when Geno Auriemma thought he had Caitlin Clark all figured out. In his eyes, she was just a flashy player, not someone ready to make waves in the basketball world. He even dismissed her fan base, calling them dreamers stuck in fantasy. But reality has a way of flipping the script, and this time, it did so in spectacular fashion. Live on TV, the same Caitlin Clark he doubted, saying she wasn't built for WNBA-level physicality, has now exceeded everyone's expectations. She's proven her critics wrong, turning skeptics into believers. And as for Geno, he's now one of her biggest supporters. Perhaps the most surprising of all.
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie.
Caitlin Clark's freshman season wasn't just impressive. It was revolutionary. From jaw-dropping performances on the court to smashing records that will be talked about for years, she silenced every critic with her talent. Even her toughest critic, Geno Auriemma, known for his strong, unshakable opinions, couldn't deny her brilliance in a twist no one expected. The legendary coach went from doubting Clark to openly praising her. But how did this happen? How did one of basketball's biggest icons shift from skepticism to celebrating her greatness? The story behind this transformation is as captivating as the outcome itself. And what followed made headlines everywhere.
Geno, baby, if Caitlin Clark is on the team, it becomes the right team. Because Caitlin Clark is on it. It's like saying Michael Jordan's not on the right team. It's the right team if Michael Jordan is on the roster.
It all started with a bold statement that shook the basketball world. Appearing on the Dan Patrick Show, legendary UConn coach Geno Auriemma didn't mince words. He openly criticized Caitlin Clark's fan base, calling them delusional and accusing them of setting her up for failure. His reasoning? He didn't think Clark was tough enough for the WNBA's physical demands or quick enough to handle the league's aggressive defenders.
What does bother me is some of the people I deeply respect, their basketball credentials, their basketball history, their commitment to basketball and women's basketball, I think have really not covered themselves in glory with some of this comment.
To really understand Geno Auriemma's doubts, you have to look back at Caitlin Clark's college days at Iowa. She wasn't just a standout player. She was a force of nature. Her long-range shooting was jaw-dropping. Her leadership turned the Hawkeyes into national contenders, and her ability to score at will made her a household name. By the time she was chosen as the top pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, she had already captured the attention of the basketball world, but Geno wasn't sold. To him, success in college didn't automatically mean success in the pros, unless, of course, you were from UConn. Diana Taurasi summed it up best when she said, "This kid's in for a rude awakening." The basketball world quickly split into two camps. Clark supporters highlighted her relentless work ethic, her incredible basketball IQ, and her ability to step up in clutch moments. Meanwhile, her critics, including WNBA legend Taurasi, agreed with Geno, questioning whether Clark's college brilliance could handle the intense pace and physicality of the pro game.
Like I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable.
If there's one thing Caitlin Clark has always done, it's rise to the occasion. That fierce determination set the stage for what became one of the most unforgettable debut seasons in WNBA history. Clark didn't just meet expectations, she shattered them. Playing for the Indiana Fever, she put up incredible numbers. 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and over 5 rebounds per game. Her offensive brilliance turned heads. but it was her ability to elevate her teammates and control the flow of games that left even her harshest critics speechless. Along the way, she broke a staggering 62 records, a feat that silenced even her loudest doubters.
You never know how quickly they're going to adapt to the WNBA game coming from college. And I think that Caitlin has done surprisingly well, how quickly she's adapted to this game. There's a lot of doubters out there, as we all know, and she has proved them all wrong.
Then came the moments that truly defined her season. The buzzer beaters that set off wild celebrations, the triple-doubles that went viral, and the clutch plays in high-pressure games that proved her calm under fire. Caitlin Clark wasn't just showing she could compete with the pros. She was proving she belonged among the league's brightest stars. Her resilience, leadership, and raw talent made her rookie season one for the history books for Geno. The freshman slump he had predicted never came. Instead, he watched as the very player he doubted continued to surpass expectations. Now, the question wasn't whether Clark could handle the WNBA. It was how far her star would soar. And how did all of this lead to Geno Auriemma publicly changing his mind? That's where the story takes a surprising and fascinating turn.
It's the worst part about new fans. They have no perspective. There's no context. So they just say ridiculous nonsense.
Before we dive into what Geno actually said, let's explore why he had such a sudden change of heart. Was it Caitlin Clark's undeniable brilliance in her debut season? Or is there more to the story? Watching her dominate the WNBA could have certainly made him rethink his stance. But not everyone is convinced that his newfound admiration is entirely genuine. Here's where things get interesting. Geno Auriemma has a significant financial stake in Unrivaled, an up-and-coming 3-on-3 basketball league that has been aggressively courting Caitlin Clark. The league sees her as a game changer, someone who could elevate its profile and attract a huge fan base. Geno's glowing comments came at just the right moment, sparking some speculation. Was this a genuine recognition of her greatness, or a strategic move to win her over while Clark has already turned down the league's direct offer? She still has the power to show up, support their games, or publicly praise the league, actions that could boost its visibility overnight.
She has decided not to do Unrivaled, even though Aaliyah Boston's doing it, Lexi Hull is doing it, Kate Martin is doing it, and despite all the rumors, and I'm sure the push that was put on her. But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position to make the decision, and it appears that answer is no.
The timing of Geno's praise has definitely raised some eyebrows. Could this be a case of flattery with an ulterior motive? Fans and analysts have been debating whether his public admiration was sincere or part of a bigger strategy to eventually bring Caitlin Clark into the fold. Maybe even next year or so, what did Geno really say during a game where Clark was present to support her former Iowa Hawkeyes? Something unexpected happened. Fox College Hoops had prepared a tribute video, a heartfelt montage of her college highlights, paired with messages from former teammates, coaches, and even rivals. It was a moment meant to celebrate her incredible impact, and it certainly did just that.
Unless you have been living under a rock, you have heard about Caitlin Clark.
She's just a generational player and makes everybody around her better.
Caitlin Clark will go down as one of the best to ever play the game.
Women's basketball is under the spotlight right now because of Caitlin, and I think that will have an impact forever.
The tribute included touching words from basketball stars like Paige Beckers and Gugu Watkins, as well as her former coaches Lisa Bleer and Jan Jensen Watkins, who had faced Clark on the court, said with admiration, "She's been great. I'm really excited for her at this next stage." The praise flowed effortlessly, highlighting not just Clark's jaw-dropping skills, but also the character and leadership she displayed both on and off the court. What really left everyone talking wasn't just the glowing praise from Clark's supporters. What truly stole the show was how even her toughest critics had softened their tone. Geno Auriemma, once one of her loudest doubters, was now offering something no one expected: genuine respect. The man who had once dismissed her as all hype now had no choice but to acknowledge her incredible achievements. His skepticism had melted away, replaced by a reluctant admiration for the player who had proven him, and so many others. Wrong the Video wasn't just a nostalgic look back at her college career. It was a powerful testament to the lasting impact Clark had made on the world of basketball.
Caitlin brought so much new attention to the rise in women's college basketball and the WNBA and women's sports in general. I feel like the weight of the world is on her shoulders, and she just has this heavy burden to carry, and she does it with grace and humility.
The tribute was a powerful reminder that Caitlin Clark's legacy wasn't just about her stats or records. It was about her ability to inspire and elevate the game for everyone. As the video played, fans erupted into applause, and social media exploded with reactions. Tweets like, "She's changed the game, and it's time everyone admits it," flooded in, with even Geno Auriemma unable to deny her greatness anymore. The overwhelming sentiment was clear. Caitlin Clark had transcended the game, and her impact was undeniable. It wasn't just her supporters from Iowa who spoke up either. Cara Conagra, a coach who had faced Clark's teams as a rival, joined in with praise that carried real weight. "You can't deny her impact. It goes beyond stats," she said. The tribute smoothly transitioned into clips from Clark's WNBA highlights, and every time her face appeared on the screen, the crowd cheered. It was as if the entire basketball community was united in celebrating her incredible journey.
Clark for the win! Our only comparable to her is Steph Curry.
Well, she did break my assist record at Iowa, so that's, something I have to live with my entire life. But I think what Caitlin Clark did is put eyes on our game. People that would never watch women's basketball are watching women's basketball now because of Caitlin Clark.
Did is put eyes on our game. People that would never watch women's basketball are watching women's basketball now. Because of Caitlin Clark, the tribute wasn't just a celebration. It was a reckoning. It showed how far Clark had come from a player doubted by legends to one who forced them to rethink everything. It reinforced that her season was about more than just the numbers. It was about resilience, breaking barrier carriers, and bringing people together. And at the center of it all was Clark, as humble and focused as ever, continuing to inspire everyone around her. The legendary UConn coach who once dismissed Caitlin Clark's WNBA potential with complete confidence found himself in an unexpected position, eating his words. For months, he had been one of her loudest critics, questioning her readiness for the league and whether she could thrive against professional competition. But during a segment aired alongside Clark's tribute video, his comments carried something fans never thought they'd hear. Genuine admiration. It was a rare moment, and it certainly shifted the landscape. Gone were the sharp remarks about Clark not being built for the physicality of the WNBA or his digs at her so-called delusional fan base. Instead, Geno openly acknowledged the undeniable impact she had made. "She's a phenomenon, no question," he said during the segment, leaving viewers stunned. "I was mesmerized by her. Caitlin had the tongue out. She's feeling it tonight, folks. She broke stereotypes, played with flair, confidence, and swagger that few have played with as Clark's brilliance continued to unfold. The weight of Geno's earlier skepticism became impossible to ignore. His once firm stance now seemed increasingly out of touch. But this wasn't just about admitting she could play. It was about recognizing that Clark was redefining what it meant to be a star in the WNBA, known for standing by his opinions. Geno's shift revealed something rare, a concession to undeniable greatness.
I've done so much to grow the game and inspire young girls to play.
We're uplifting women basketball, and everybody's watching.
I think Caitlin will be in the record books forever. She's an amazing basketball player, but an even better person.
Not everyone was quick to embrace Geno's turnaround. Some fans dismissed his praise as damage control, a way to save face after Clark's meteoric rise. Analysts were quick to point out that this was Geno's version of admitting he was wrong without actually saying the words. Even respected basketball insiders noted that his change of heart highlighted the sheer power of Clark's talent. So powerful, it could make even the most entrenched opinions crumble for many, though. Geno's shift symbolized a broader cultural change in the sport. Women's basketball was evolving, and so was the audience's willingness to embrace fresh talent. Clark wasn't just playing the game. She was redefining it, forcing even her fiercest critics to rethink their beliefs. Her season wasn't just a personal triumph.
all those years ago, back in Des Moines, Iowa, that this would be the case right now. We knew what we had in Caitlin back in Iowa City, and we knew the attention that she was bringing around the Big Ten and in collegiate basketball. But I didn't know how that was going to transcend into the WNBA. And obviously we can see that it's done pretty darn well, and people are excited to see her play at every level.
It marked a turning point for the entire sport as Clark continues to grow the game and inspire young girls. Many see her as a catalyst for elevating women's basketball. I think Caitlin will be in the record books forever. She's an amazing player, but an even better person, said one supporter. When Geno's comments went public, the reaction was immediate and impassioned. Clark's fans flooded social media with posts like, "Even Geno can't deny her greatness anymore, and this is the ultimate vindication for Caitlin," capturing the collective sentiment. Memes poking fun at Geno's shift quickly went viral, turning what could have been a quiet moment into an internet sensation. But beyond the memes and tweets, this moment carried deeper meaning. It marked the dawn of a new era in women's basketball, one driven by players like Clark, who transcend expectations and force the sports world to take notice. Fans who once doubted her now cheered her on. Analysts who hesitated now spoke of her with respect usually reserved for legends who would have thought, all those years ago in Des Moines, Iowa, that this would be the case, said one analyst. "We knew what we had in Caitlin back in Iowa City. We knew the attention she was bringing to the Big Ten and collegiate basketball, but I didn't know how that would translate into the WNBA. And obviously, we can see how it's done pretty darn well. This wasn't just about Clark proving Geno wrong. It was about rewriting the entire narrative. Her story became a testament to resilience, talent, and breaking barriers. Clark became a trailblazer, inspiring the next generation and reshaping how the sport is perceived. Her season wasn't just a triumph of skill. It was a masterclass in resilience, ambition, and changing the game. Clark entered the WNBA under a microscope with skeptics, including Geno, questioning whether she could adapt to the league's physical demands. But she didn't just meet the challenge. She obliterated expectations, setting a new bar for what a rookie could accomplish. "My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day," Clark said. "I wouldn't expect anything less than that." Geno's shift from harsh critique to glowing praise wasn't just a personal concession. It symbolized a seismic impact. For a coach known for his steadfast opinions, to acknowledge her greatness signified a turning point in the sport. It was a statement that women's basketball was evolving, driven by game changers like Clark, who challenged preconceived notions and raised the bar for what's possible. This wasn't just about proving one doubter wrong. It was about rewriting the rules of the game. As Clark gears up for the 2025 season, the stakes are higher than ever. Analysts predict she'll continue to sharpen her already elite skills and lead the Indiana Fever into contention. Fans eagerly await her next move, knowing her electrifying performances will draw even more attention to the league. But Clark's influence goes beyond stats and wins.